Good morning, guys. This is Seth with Crawlworks Power Sports. Today we're going to be talking about a failure that we had on our blue UForce 1000 XL. And it was actually a mistake, but it is something that is going to happen, that if you are running portals on your machine, you're more than likely the issue is going to arise. So we're just going to recap, if not a lot of people know, that this machine was actually stolen from us. It was stolen out of our shop and we were able to recover it within 24 hours to get it back here. But the problem is whenever they stole it from our shop, they didn't take it out on a trailer or anything like that. They drove it down the main highway. So this machine went down the main highway according to the GPS unit. On 6-inch portals, they were running at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. Now we did drain the portal blood out of the portals and check the portals, and the portals are perfectly fine. There was no issues and no problems there. When we first got it back, the only issue that we noticed, and that was probably the reason why it was abandoned where it was at and not driven, was the driver's side rear axle had broke. We brought it back. It just sat in our shop. We didn't do anything with it. And now I'm starting to get caught up to the point where I can start working on it again. And this is one of the things that I noticed whenever I was going over the machine. An issue and a problem arose on the front of it. So if you notice, the front A-arms here are hanging down off of the mounting points here on the frame. And in a minute, I'm going to go ahead and zoom the camera in and show you what happened and how we're going to take and fix it today. We do have a gusset kit coming because what happened was the bolt holes where the bolts go through that hold the A-arm to the frame actually ovaled out. They wallowed out, which allowed the front A-arm to walk back and forth on the unit. So we'll go ahead, we'll get the camera adjusted here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go ahead and fix it for myself. This is going to be a cheap, easy, inexpensive fix, but it's going to be something that you can just, basically keep fixing down the line if it continues to keep happening. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and start the process. Okay, so if you can go ahead and look here, I already ground off the paint off of the front here. And if you can tell, this hole actually walked itself out towards the outer section of the frame here, which allowed a lot of back and forth play. So if I take the bolt that's supposed to be in there and put it in there, that's the area where the bolt should be. The bolt has this much play to be able to be walked back and forth. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to weld a grade 8 washer to the front and a grade 8 washer to the rear of it to keep it from walking. Now, the reason why I'm going to go ahead and use a washer is one, they're very inexpensive. You can go to Tractor Supply, Lowe's, or anything like that, get a grade 8 hardware washer, and you can go ahead and weld it to the face of it. If that washer goes ahead and wallowed out, you can easily just take the bolt out, take a grinder, grind it off, weld a new one on there, and just keep going. Is it a permanent fix? It's not a permanent fix, but one of the things is, whenever you start adding portals or anything else to these machines, these are issues that you're going to be faced with. Portals are going to damage your machine over a period of time. That's why they make frame stiffening kits. They make track bar kits. They also, make gusset kits to stop this from happening. The reason why ours happened wasn't because it was trail ridden and not because it was taken out and beaten and abused. It actually did that because these bolts are going to come loose, but mine was loose. So we just got done putting the 6-inch portals on it, and I was in the process of adjusting the camber and everything else on the A-arms whenever this happened, because this bolt wasn't tight. The lower A-arm bolt on the other side wasn't tight. The shock bolt wasn't tight. It's still not tight. I can go ahead and just, take the nut off with my fingers because we were still in the process of fine-tuning the front suspension on this thing whenever it was stolen and taken. And I guess the people that took it doesn't realize those types of things. So we're going to go ahead and start the repair process now. So what we're going to use is we're going to use some grade 8 3/8 washers. And the reason why we went with 3/8 inch washers is because we actually need this hole to be 12 millimeter. They don't sell 12 millimeter grade 8 washers, and if they do, you would have to get them online. It's not something that we can get off the shelf. So of course, it does not fit the bolt. So what we did is we actually got a 12 millimeter drill bit off of Amazon for $7. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take and drill this hole out to a 12 millimeter to be able to fit the shank of the bolt tightly. So now after you have your washer drilled out to the 12 millimeter, you're going to go ahead and use a grinder or flap wheel to clean off the paint or whatever is on the washer. You're going to go ahead and center it where it needs to be at. And then we're just going to use a cheap welder. It's just a Vulcan OmniPro 220 from Harbor Freight, to go ahead and tack it into place, check our bolt fitment, and then go ahead and weld the whole thing in. And just like that, we used our welder, we put a few tacks on there, and now what we're going to do is we're going to grind it down just a little bit more on the face with our flap wheel, and then just go ahead and weld that in solid. Now just like that, we have a repaired eyelet that this bolt is no longer going to move whatsoever. So that's one way to be able to repair it. We do have a gusset kit coming out that's going to be a weld-in gusset kit that you're just going to basically be able to take, we have multiple different flat washers, square washers, 12 millimeters, 10 millimeters, and so forth and so on through that to be able to stiffen up this gusset on the frame and then on the back as well. That should be hitting our website here this week. And then you just hit it with some primer and black paint. Move on, do the same thing to the rear. And that would be how we repaired it on the front of this. And with that grade 8 bolt, it should be good to go. And with that being said, after we made the repair here, and the reason why we went ahead and made this video on the repair that we just made is because some people are going to have this issue and problem with their UForce with portals. And you can have it not running portals. These bolts should be checked regularly on your A-arms and on your suspension to make sure that they're tight, because the only thing that's keeping them tight is a nylon nut. So with that being said, we're going to actually go ahead and run some blue thread locker on this. I had a brain fart there. I forgot what it was called. And we're going to go ahead and put some of that on it and go from there, and that should keep the nut. But again, this is part of maintenance. Something that you should be doing every couple rides is checking your A-arm bolts, checking your shock bolts, checking everything that's actually taking a hard impact out on the trails. These machines are driven sometimes by people down trails 25, 30 mile an hour, and there is no way possible that some of the trails that these are driven on at those speeds, you're going to take a car or a truck down those trails as well and have as smooth a ride as you do in these off-road buggies. So I hope that helps anybody out there that might be having the same issue, the same problem and everything else as us. This should help you get your machine fixed. It's a quick fix, something that, happened one weekend. You don't have to order parts or nothing. Run down to your local hardware store, spend $1, buy like 20 flat washers, 3/8 inch flat washers, drill them out with a 12 millimeter bolt drill bit that we picked up off of Amazon for $7.93, I think. Have it the next day, so just keep that in your toolbox, in your shop, because this is going to happen. So until the next time, guys, I hope this helps somebody out that might be facing the same issues and the same problems that we did. If you like our content, please subscribe and share our content. Help us build up our community and everything else to help you with repairs and stuff like that on your UForces and your other machines. We do have a set of track bars being made for this to actually help with this issue as well. The track bar is actually attached to the cross member underneath the machine. And what that's going to do is going to come up here and it's going to hook onto the A-arms to keep the A-arms from flexing back and forth, because this is the hardest hitting area on these machines is your front A-arms because of the steering and everything else. So until the next time, guys, I hope that helps somebody out, and keep watching our videos. Thanks.